So good evening, everyone. My name's Constable Robyn Kassam, and I'm one of the senior safety officers at York Regional Police. I have a booth that's at the back here tonight. I'm not in uniform this evening, and I apologize for that, but nevertheless, I'm a police officer 24 hours a day. So I just wanted to let you know a little bit about kind of what's happening from York Regional Police. We have two dedicated police senior safety officers. We work in community services, and we cover the whole region of York. So essentially our job is comprised of raising awareness on a lot of the top scams and frauds that are targeting our seniors and older adults. Elder abuse is a huge topic, and I know that my friends here tonight have talked about that and how moving in that direction about having that conversation and breaking down barriers. I think that that's a huge thing that we're challenged with every day. We also do a lot of supports on when to call 911. Now, people call 911 for everything and anything, as you could probably imagine, and we have to respond to all 911 calls. So if I could share with you that sometimes we get calls to the same residence to the same person, and that person is calling 911 not necessarily because they're dealing with a police issue, but perhaps they're dealing with a social issue, but they need help, right? So in that event, we get a lot of people choosing to call 911. We respond. We realize what the situation is. Perhaps they are in an acute medical condition and they require to go to the hospital. So again, it's like that village coming together. We need EMS there. Perhaps we need fire, and they get transported out. But in many cases, our officers leave the home. There's no perhaps indication there that they require medical assistance. There's nothing there that perhaps fire is required to be there for, and we, the police, now are leaving going, sometimes these situations are not very pleasing when we leave there, and we leave the person, okay, they're relatively making a good decision, but not living at risk. And we, as we know it, many of our citizens knowingly live at risk. And I think that's a big message, is that with our whole aging demographic, we are going to see more cases, of police going to calls with elderly persons, to our senior friends. We are going to see more complex cases. You know, when we talk about this, and Mary, you spoke about this at the beginning, about the whole village, like the whole group of people that are coming together. And really that's what we lean on, that whole village. We need it because in most cases it's not criminal. So it's not really a police issue, but it becomes a police issue, depending on if it's an elder abuse situation, depending on if it's a theft by power of attorney, right? And we see a lot of that. Powers of attorneys, that is like tipping the iceberg, and we are going to see a lot more of that. That's a lot of calls that we get to our office. Powers of attorneys taking advantage. Long-term care homes or retirement homes not getting paid because the powers of attorneys are subsidizing their own income, so they're taking their parents' money. That's a big, big deal. And struggling about capacity, I think that's a huge thing that we struggle with as well. Is the person capable? Are they incapable? What is their baseline? Where are we going with that? How do we support them in their home? And I think we as police officers, we want to support our community. We want our citizens to stay in their home. We want them to thrive in their home, but we want them to be safe in their home. Would you agree? And some people are not safe in their home. We are presented with many complex cases, people living at risk. Hoarders are one of the things that we deal with quite commonly, where we're trying to get people help. People living in homes where their homes are no longer habitable, and we have to remove them from the home, or they have been removed from the home, and then we get them support. And then essentially what's happened sometimes, we get them help, and then they end up coming through that whole loop again, and they're back in that house again. So when you think about that, or we're going to the same person's house 33 times in a year, you know, that's a lot, right? So if you're not in that box or in this world dealing what we deal with on an everyday basis, it's hard to really grasp how complex these cases are and what emergency services are doing. So Bussy and I, my partner Bussy Wood, we essentially do a lot of raising awareness. We do a lot of interventions. We help with our community partners. And you know, Linda, we're on the phone quite regularly. The hospitals are calling us a lot. Discharge planners, they're opening up that line of communication. without compromising someone's health information. But if there's a safety concern, then usually it's a police concern. So that's, I think, something for you to understand as caregivers. If there's ever a risk to public safety, you're not going to get in trouble with sharing of information, and likewise, if there's a risk to public safety. So kind of a take-home message with that. If you think that you need the police to come in, we can come in. Our role is quite dynamic. We can go out in plain clothes, as I am here tonight, or we can go in uniform. Because in some cases of elder abuse, for example, they're very delicate, right? Very sensitive. And when you see the police, automatically what do you assume? Something bad is going to happen. So we really need to try to break down that stigma, and we really need to get to that level to them so that they know that we're there to support them. We don't want them to see us as that police officer in that uniform. We want them to see us as that person that's going to advocate for them. So on that note, if you need any supports, by all means, you can give us a call. We are here for you. And I look forward to looking at the website further with regards to Caregiving Matters. And I'm sure I could talk for 3 hours, but thank you.